Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Hollywood Matt Connolly with the double biceps. So we got one in print. Let me get the other one there. There we go. It's a contractual legal requirement every single time you appear on camera. Welcome to the AWE Entertainment Arm Wrestling Entertainment Podcast. We have a very special guest. Actually, let me introduce my co-host, co-founder, co-breather of air, co-wearer of clothes, the Count of Monte Cristo, the King of Sting, the Thunderlips, the ultimate male. It is, in fact, the winner of the Dave Stockbridge of the Year award. It is Dave Stockbridge. Welcome to your own show.
Thank you very much for that very, very warm welcome, and extending that same very warm welcome to our very special guest and co-founder here today at the AWE, Ryan Blue Bowen. Ryan, thanks so much for joining us today.
Man, it's always a pleasure to come on. And AWE, I'm excited. There's so much. We've been talking about this sort of stuff for a long time, and it's nice to start to see it come together and to be part of the first event. Very excited. But thank you for having us on.
Not just part of the first event, but the actual main event, taking on a rematch, a slight grudge match.
I'd say grudge match.
Yeah,
I'd like to build it up as such if we can.
Absolutely, yes. A hateful, vengeful, spiteful match that will
no
take
love
place
lost
at the first AWE event, which will be part of the Apex Sports Festival. And big thanks to Diamondback Fighting Championships, Greg Hearn, putting on this massive event on the 25th of February at Norwood Oval. Tickets are available at diamondbackfc.com. This is 20 different combat sports all taking place on the same day.
Amazing.
Insane. And this man on screen with us here, Mr. Ryan Blue Bowen, is one of the best arm wrestlers in the country.
One of the big stars on the day.
Absolutely. And yes, the main event, he will be taking on an American from Florida, all the way from Florida. He's brought his Hawaiian shirt all the way over to Australia, and he will be featured in the main event. And it will be Chance Shaw, his name is. He is taking on this man here, Ryan Blue Bowen, on 25th of February. So very excited about this event.
Big announcements over Christmas. So Ryan, this is something you've been working on in the background for some time. How did it all come about with Chance? It's been a couple of years. You would have thought that maybe the hat's been buried. Maybe he's licked his wounds and he was happy just to move on. But no, he wanted to. There was something he had to revisit.
I can understand. I can understand why Chance needs this match. Like, to tell the story of Chance and I, it was 2 years ago, pretty much spot on 2 years ago, this is so pre-travel restriction time in the world. I came up with this business direction for myself as an athlete and as a YouTuber to say, all right, well, I'm just going to ask my fans via a poll who you want me to travel to in the world to face, and I'll put $500 on the table and I'll face them, and they don't need to match the bet. And I can't remember who else was in the poll, but Chance won it. Everyone wanted me to go and face Chance Shaw. So I flew to Florida.
Or like voting all the time, or how did that work?
I don't know. He got his people together and they
integrity
won
here.
that poll. But I flew over there behind enemy lines, like in the garage. I think it was Craig Soublier's home, and there were about 40 or 50. Floridians, do we call them Floridians? I don't know.
Yeah,
let's
we'll
call
go
them
with that, sure.
In there, and I had maybe like 2 or 3 people supporting me. Everyone else was just saying I was going to get belted. The lead up to that match, everyone said it's not even a match. Chance Shaw was young. Don't get me wrong. I think he was 21 or something, maybe 22. But he just beat Nick Zinner 3 weeks earlier. And if you don't Nick Zinner's a big dude with some serious arm wrestling victories in the WAL, and that he's one of those top tier supers in the USA at the time, and Chance had just beaten him amongst other names like Brent Rackers at a Florida tournament just only 3 weeks prior to me going over there. So everyone was basing it off that, saying, Ryan, you're not even in his league. Chance declared it as it's going to be the easiest $500 he's ever had. Long story short, I beat him 4-2. And Chance has tried to bury that story forever since. And look, credit to him, he did handle it well. He used that as a point of motivation, and he's gone on and evolved and done some pretty big things, pinning people like Ron Barth, Jordan Sill, Mike Aiello, Zurev Tavbaridze. Amanda beat me. Chance beat him quite comfortably. So here we are once again Chance is telling me, and everyone's telling me, oh, Chance has got this easy. You're not in his league. Man, it's just the same story again. He almost quit the sport when I beat him last time. When I beat him again, I don't know how we're going to deal with it. It's going to be rough.
Wow.
He's in trouble, and that's the story. But he thinks he's coming down here super casual. He's so confident. I don't think he's taking it anywhere near seriously enough. I think he just expects to roll through me and take his prize money and go home. I am literally in the best shape ever, and by a huge margin. Training's on point. I think he's in trouble.
So it's interesting that match with Chance was somewhat of a low point as he was on this trajectory, and maybe you had that yourself not too long ago with Coach Ray, and that was perhaps a wake-up call. And since you've built some momentum again, but you've also been rebuilding yourself as an athlete, you literally you look like another man, you know. So
it's the beard.
So the power of the beard, it can't be underestimated. Much strength lie within. So was that the wake up call? And am I calling that correctly? Did you have that moment? Where am I weak? Why did this happen? What
Look, when I lost to Coach Ray, that was definitely a let's call it a catalyst to a new direction. A chapter definitely opened there. When I faced Coach Ray, I weighed in at 88.7 kilos, which was a big. To get to that weight, I'd spent like 3 months dieting, where I was only eating 1,000 calories a day, and then I did a massive dehydrate to get to the weight, and I underperformed. I really did. I just wasn't there, and I just recognized that in myself. Like, this is not my weight category. Don't do this again. Embrace fundamental strength. And it was a wake up call for me that I said I need to make the rest of my body strong, because I spent a decade training just my hand and wrist. My right hand and wrist, I went all in on the giant pumpkin theory, and it served me well. But I felt like when I lost to Ray the way I lost to Ray, it was very evident to me that I'd hit a ceiling, and making my hand and wrist better was not going to break through it. I could just feel that in the match. The arm wrestling world, people like Lachlan Adair said, finally, like he'd been saying that to me for years, like, dude, you need to get strong, and I'm like, no, I'm just going to keep doing this.
Come to the gym with me. No.
Not only Lachlan, but the collective arm wrestling community that had been following kind of my path in that sport, all breathed this sigh of relief, like finally he's going to do it. And I went all in. And
he reads the comments. He reads them.
He does. Every single one.
I read all of the comments, man. It's like the pulse of my story is reading the comments. It keeps me grounded, keeps me in the right direction. But I went all in. A lot of people said, why don't you just get Lachlan to coach you? And I'm like, I can't listen to just Lachlan. It's because he's like my good mate. And it's like you don't want to take direction from your dad when you're a teenager, but you'll happily listen to your uncle. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm like, I know Lachlan's good, but no, I need to go outside of that space. And I went to Sebastian Oreb, who, in my opinion, is Australia's best, potentially one of the world's best strength coaches. A man who coached Hafthor Bjornsson, a man who's coached people like Larry Wheels, a man who's taken multiple people to world record lifts in different disciplines. And I thought, well, look, if I'm going to do this, if I'm going to get a strength coach, I'm getting someone that I know can produce results. And I hit up Sebastian, and he was willing. I paid Sebastian, and I ended up saying to him, look, I don't instead of a program, can I just have a consultation with you? I just want one video call. I paid a month's worth of fees, and I just said, I just want one video call with you. And we had this video call. We just chatted, and he kind of saw my craziness and my obsession and my goal. And we ended up going way more in depth with this. And we said, all right, let's do some collaborations. Let's work together. I'll teach you. And you, Ryan, can be a guinea pig in this strength system. Let's bring in Lachlan there to be able to morph it into arm wrestling specific gym work as well. So between Sebastian and Lachlan, they developed this strength system arm wrestling. And I have not missed a rep of that for the last, how many weeks is it now? I think 18 weeks. I've been under that program for 18 weeks. Have not missed a rep. I've not missed a set. I've done every single damn thing they've told me to do. And yeah, you can see the results. The results are friggin' amazing. I feel I'm 105 kilos, give or take, at the moment. My bench press has gone from I had a 1 RM of approximately 100 at the start. It's now at 140.
Wow.
Yeah, my back and shoulders, the movements there, they've just absurdly gone up. My posture's better. My everything's better. And what it translates to on the table, we're yet to really see it. I haven't pulled a comp yet since this. I mean, I pulled Zurab East vs West 5, but that was very early in this process. And even then, I still felt better than I'd ever felt before. But where I'm at now, like, I don't know. It's high. All I know is that I feel good against Lachlan Adair in training like I've never felt before. And everybody else in the country, I feel friggin' amazing against. So, yeah.
Yeah, we saw that video leak out of the Blue Bowen camp by you on Facebook. They're kind of looking very, very strong against Lachlan in a way that perhaps even 2 or 3 weeks ago you mightn't have. And Jamie Barrett was back in town, so that was another litmus test for you to see how you're progressing, knowing what he's just come off the back of, and getting stronger by the day, by the week. So you feel your trajectory's there. What do you know of Chance's development at this stage? Is he lying low? Is he leaking any information out? What are you able to glean from his camp?
I don't know what he does in his training. I know that he is.
Does he train?
He's the son of a bench press champion.
So
bench press is in his blood, and you can see that thick barrel chest that he's got. You can see that he, just from the way he has victories over other people, and just from my memory from gripping him as well, he has a very significant back pressure and side pressure. That's his main weapon. Todd Hutchins is the only person that has successfully been able to force him inside and absorb Chance's side pressure whilst attempting to set a hook. So that shows you the caliber. Everyone else, John Brzenk, when he tried the hook, got flattened. Zurav Tabaridze tried the hook, got flattened. Everyone who's tried to go inside on Chance gets flattened. So he's got immense back pressure, side pressure. I believe his vulnerability is his wrist, which is where I got the victory over him last time. I can sense that if our hands remained the same, he would win. He is stronger in back pressure and side pressure than I am. He's 135 kilos, I believe, at the moment. So he's a big boy, but it doesn't matter if his wrist goes. All that power gets reduced quite significantly. And when I reflect on where I'm at the moment, as I'm adding all this foundation strength to my chest and shoulders and my own biceps and that, what it's translating to in a feeling on the table is that my hand and wrist feels freaking amazing. Like the decade that I spent training just my hand and wrist, I feel like it was this long-term investment that is paying dividends all of a sudden now. Like I've had other people say to me, "Oh, Ryan, don't get too excited about developing bench press. It doesn't help that much on the table anyway." And these are people that have way bigger bench presses than me that I can beat comfortably on the table currently. And I think it's like it's just that they have a massive V8 engine, but they got no tread on their tires, no downforce or whatever. And subsequently, they can't get any sort of real power down on the road. Where for me, my hand is ready to take the big engine. I just haven't had the big engine. And I think as the engine room is growing, my hand is ahead of a lot of people that I compete with. And it's feeling amazing. It's becoming so easy to take people's risks. It's just like I can trust my hand against Lachlan's now in training. Outside of strap, I'm winning the majority. And that's a huge thing for me to be able to hold on to Lachlan out of straps and know that he's going to be the one who dumps his wrist is that's surprising to me. I didn't expect this to translate to that, but I'm very excited. So when I think of Chance, I remember his wrist was his vulnerability. I had enough to take it last time. No doubt we've both evolved in the 2 years. Clearly he has. I think it's pretty clear I have. I think it's going to be the same story again.
Yeah, absolutely. What was it like, that feeling in the last few weeks where you started to see those results come in and you're going against somebody like Lachlan, who is incredibly strong, currently sitting as ranked number 1 in Australia, having international matches against some of the best in the world, and sort of winning moments, winning matches, winning positions. Was it the last sort of 5-6 weeks and you're like, oh, this is something, I'm getting something out of this?
It's been the last 4 weeks. 4 weeks ago, I just started to feel like I'm getting closer. Like I can, and it was and Lachlan complimented me as well. He said, like, dude, you feel the strongest you've ever felt by a long way. And every week he 4 weeks ago, he's like, I need to take these trainings serious now because like I can't turn up even half tired. And now he's like, now when we're training, we're both turning up. We're like, all right, no one pulling anyone else. Me and you, let's go. 10 minutes. Let's like, and it's wonderful for Lachlan as well. Like, I'm very happy for him because he gets this opportunity that he hasn't had in years to actually have to think on the table and to have to adjust and work it out. So I think it'll make us both better arm wrestlers for it. But yeah, it's been the last 4 weeks that has really been evident to me within my physicality that I'm in the realm of giving Lachlan value. And yeah, chances not expecting it.
How do you think would have anything been different with your Zurab match, with where you are at the moment?
Oh yeah, look, like when we talk about gym numbers, of course, we can't be certain that this translates to the table in a direct manner. But since departing for Zurab, the lifts that I'm doing now, I'm still in the same series. I'm still in the same, probably 80% of the lifts in my current block were in the block that maybe prep for Zurab. And I'm, I don't know, maybe 20, 30% beyond the numbers that I was at Zurab in terms of what I'm doing on my strict bicep, in terms of what I'm benching. I'd benched 130 before leaving for Zurab. Now I'm at 140, for example. So things are good. The numbers have gone up phenomenally. Zurab gave me advice. He said that one of the key vectors that I needed to improve on was just my ability to go from center towards my left shoulder. And it's quite a insignificant movement, and it's hard in respect to how much weight you can move from here to there. But it's one of those critical ones that has an immense reward. He said that, look, my hand felt great, my back pressure felt good enough. I just lacked that high side as part of that story. So I've added that since getting back, and that's shot up. Like, I mean, I'm all in. One of the things that I learned when I lost to Ray, going back to that point again, was that I am of the opinion now that arm wrestlers should embrace their ace and not try to make themselves something they're not. So I went through that season where I tried to force myself to become a hooker, and I've realized, no, look, I'm a top roller. I'm back to my top roll, and I just counter all the various styles out there from the basis of a hook of a top roll. So I've gone back to that, and I'm all in on this move, and I think that move is a real problem for Chance Shaw. I think it's going to expose his wrist like it did last time, and I think he'll want to run and hide when he feels that happen. He won't want to complete the match. He'll just want to. He'll be so lost in his mind if it happens, because he's built up so much. Again, for a second time, expectation on himself that he is just going to do it easy. And I don't expect to do this easy. I expect all of his power, but I just know that I am a million times closer than he thinks I am. Where he thinks it's just a walk in the park, it's not. It's not. I'm in such good shape. It's not. I don't fear Chance. It's a match. And I feel like all the travel that he's going to have to do, he's never flown 30 hours to get to a match before. So that's going to knock him around. It's my home territory this time. Yeah, pressure's on.
Absolutely. So you say it was Zurab that was giving you that advice of
after the match, yeah.
It's so crazy in this sport that you could go against your opponent, and then 5 minutes after the match, they're telling you exactly how they beat you and what you need to improve on.
Yeah. He said to me, like, oh, maybe maybe 5%, 10% there more, and I'm in trouble.
Wow. Wow. It's I've never
See you
seen
back in the gym.
Yes, exactly. It's never been another sport that I can think of that
Doesn't
has
happen in
this.
football, for instance, does it?
No, that's
Yes.
right.
Especially straight away like that too. Like,
Yeah,
straight
exactly.
after
Yeah,
the
straight after. Like, so what you did, now get on the table with me and I'll show you how to win. It's just insane.
So how much are you weighing right now as of today?
Right now, 105.
105. And is that your goal weight, or you're planning on putting on more size?
Oh,
or just
no,
seeing what
I'll be
happens?
much bigger. I'll be much
You
bigger.
will be
Dave.
bigger? So this could be a
I'm
one.
quitting the camera frame soon.
Yeah.
I've worked out how, look, after a decade of trialing and error on how to best peak in respect to rest and training and food and supplementation and all sorts of different factors, I think I'm getting pretty good at it now. I think I've worked something out, and that I reflect on that again. Thanks to the Coach Ray loss, my next match after that was an Arm Wars match. I had 5 weeks between Coach Ray and my Arm Wars match, and I was so desperate to get my weight back that I force-fed myself. I ate as much food as I possibly could. I don't know what my calories were in, but they were 4,000 to 5,000 calories, maybe even more on some days. I was just eating. What that did when I pulled Bogdan Stoica, I surprised myself at how strong I felt. Like, relative to myself, it just was like, oh man, I feel good. And when I felt that, it made me reflect on a moment I had in the Queensland state titles in maybe 2018, maybe 2017, whatever it was. There was a year there where I won the under 95s and I won the super heavyweights and I pulled the overalls and won that. And no one came close to me that day. I beat Lachlan that day, Marcus that day, Fatali that day, Adam Stefanik that day, Doug Fatafi that day. Everyone, I flash pinned all of them. And the Bogdan moment made me reflect back to that, because at that Queensland title, I was the same. I force fed myself for 2 weeks leading up to it. I was fat faced. So I realized straight away, this is how I reached my peak. I did it again for Khaled. I force fed myself and I felt amazing. So right now I'm in the non-force fed state, 105 kilos.
This is
I will be
pre-force fed.
I will be 110 kilos at this match.
120?
110.
110.
Wow, fantastic. Yeah,
or as Matt might call it, 160.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm reading out, no matter what it says on the scale. 160 kilo Romo.
So 110. That's impressive. And
I know I will. I can feel. I'm getting a feel of how my body's adapting to everything that we're doing, and it's 110 for sure.
That seems to be a weight that's heating up a little bit with Monster Michael Todd dropping best part of 50 pounds in preparation for his upcoming matchup. So not something you want to do straight after Christmas, surely. So he's going the other way. You might join, cross each other, cross paths somewhere there on the scales. So but that it's easy to see even Devon dieting down to 230, 240, 250. So it could well be, now that Levan's obviously, on another level, and there's a pretty significant gap back to the peloton. It's interesting that almost everybody could weigh in close to 100, 110 kilos. That's a big name, and that could be a very hotly contested bracket of athletes.
It's an awesome weight category at the moment in terms of the names. Yeah, I have an agreement with
Ryan Blue Bowen, as it turns out. So
with Devon that when I'm 40 and he's 50, we're going to have a super match. So that's 2.5 years away. So if he stays at that weight range and I stay where I am and just keep progressing, I think that it could be a lot of fun. But I take very seriously my goal in the sport, and I'm in a season now, and this is something that is reflected in my YouTube channel. I've stepped back from. I used to split my energy between two things evenly, between creative content on YouTube and training. I'm now at the 98% training to 2% creative content ratio over the last 18 weeks at least. And I've been really enjoying that. And it's been nice to do less talking and just more hard work, to be honest.
But you are documenting your journey at the same time, so there's no
documented. I'm not paying attention to the arm wrestling world. I honestly can't tell you what's going on in the arm wrestling world almost outside of my own friggin' little bubble at the moment because I'm just so focused.
Yeah.
So where I used to be all over the goings on of every forum, and I could tell you everything about who was coming up next and what the dramas were and all that. I don't have a clue. I don't know what the hell's going on. I honestly don't.
It's really interesting in a time where more, say, arm wrestling commentators and people on the sidelines are starting to fill that void, and you're now able just to dedicate yourself wholly and solely to being the best athlete you can be. That's a real interesting kind of metamorphosis over a relatively short period of time as the popularity of the sports exploded.
Yeah, well, like I said, I take very seriously my goal. My goals are I want to be a world champion. I'd love to do it in that weight category that we're talking about. Obviously, the names in there are phenomenal, but I know I have a ladder to climb. The ladders. It's not impossible. It's not impossible. The rungs aren't that many. Like Zurab is ranked number 6 in the East vs West promotion, for instance, in the world at that 105 kilo mark. You got people like Krasimir Kostadinov on there. You've got obviously John and Ongrubayev at the top. So I look at all those names and I think that's who I'm coming for. And when I look at the world ranks or the athletes in that pool, for me, I always, and I've done this time and time again in my local level, state level, national level. I feel like you can predict the future ranks based on people's genuine obsession levels and their ability to stay true to that and discipline to that for a long period of time. And I see names like Irakli. I expect him to rise all the way to the top at some point. I see people like Paul Lynn, same thing. Super passionate, super obsessed, super hard workers. They're working harder than people like Krasimir Kostadinov. They're working harder than people like Todd Hutchins. Like all those guys are killers in their own right, but they're more in the legend category where I don't know, they're in cruise mode. But there's a bunch of sharks out there that are really training hard. And like I know when I train right now, Irakli is a very big motivator for me. Irakli motivates me a lot, and in the sense that I don't watch his training. I don't know what he's doing. All I know is he's hungry, and I'm like, be hungrier than Irakli. Be hungrier than Irakli.
Knowing he's out there.
When I train and when I need more reps, it's for me it's be hungrier than Irakli.
Irakli.
So
yeah, every rep, one Irakli, two Irakli.
No, everyone in the gym knows who Irakli is.
Yeah. Irakli's the guy that I was talking about in one of our earlier episodes, where he looks like when he's just standing there, he looks like a fit guy, but he doesn't look enormous. When he puts his arm on the table, it's like 5 times bigger than you think it would be. It's like, what the hell happened? Why is his arm so big? It doesn't look good when he's standing there.
Optimized. He's optimized so well. Like as you said, his waist is thin. Like he's not a huge frame guy. He's weighing, I think he weighs about 100 kilos. But yeah, his back pressure is phenomenal. His pronation's amazing. I mean, the Georgian system is, you have to give it credit for producing the best arm wrestlers in the world for the last season. And Irakli is one of those guys that champions that cause. So I think that he's an amazing athlete. And like I said, he is a big motivator for me. Just quietly in the back of my head, I'm like, I will make sure I'm hungrier than him. And I remain disciplined to keep up with that. Because like I said, the goals are big. I'm really enjoying it. And yeah, win, lose or draw. I'm someone who I get far more excited about what I can do in 5 years than what I can do in 5 months. I don't pick my matches for the win today. I pick my matches for best opportunity for growth. I'm pulling Chance Shaw because he's genuinely in that elite category of the super heavyweights, and I want to grow and I want to prove and demonstrate, not only to everyone but to myself as well, that the progress is happening.
So if people want to tune into that, they can catch that on your channel. So that'll be available as a pay-per-view event. If you are in Australia, you can buy tickets through Diamondback FC and head on and be there in person and surround the cage and watch these great warriors at it over the table. But step us through. So it's a pretty impressive card. So you guys, you and Chance at the top of the card. But as my eyes filter down and through the card, there's some pretty impressive local talent that'll find its way into your cage on that
some amazing
day
local talent and some international talent as well. The undercard is Mario Tembakis, who is the current Australian Arm Wrestling Federation 100 kilo national champion, and has always been one of the most promising arm wrestlers in the country. He's pinned people like Cody Merritt from the USA. He's a very intuitive arm wrestler, young as well, which is one of the big advantages. He's only 24, 25 or some nonsense like that. Phenomenally strong for his age. But he is taking on a legend of arm wrestling in both Latvia and Australia, Guntas Baikovs, former Latvian super heavyweight champion. And we know the pedigree of the country of Latvia. I think Jānis Amlins, thinks Coach Ray, like the quality there. They've produced many world champions and top end athletes. Guntas was once upon a time the super heavyweight champion of that, and he came to Australia and was largely untouchable when Australia was in its early years, and he's been out of action for some time in the competitive sense. Now he's back, and Mario is kind of that new kid on the block in respect to what Guntas used to be. Big match. Australia's current 100 kilo champ up against the Latvian legend. Huge match. Can't wait for that one.
Yeah, that's going to be amazing. And the question mark that surrounds Guntas is like, because I mean, Mario and Guntas to me both just feel completely untouchable. It's like, I can't, when that strength gap is so enormous, it's like, I don't know. There's just, it's, 1,000 versus
tantalizing.
3.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. But because Guntas has had that time off, and it's like, well, I don't really know where his level is. And I got into the sport, he was already retired. But then because of the growth of the sport and the clubs that are coming around, he's been enticed back in, and Mario is no slouch as a comeback match. This is one of the toughest opponents he could have picked. I think he's currently ranked 3rd or 4th in the country, and an incredible up and coming prospect. So to take on an absolute legend in the sport, and man, this is like there's no way to pick a winner in this one. This has the unknown factor about it. This match.
It's awesome. Yeah, and as you said, Dave, that's not the only one on the cards as well. There's a stack of them. For me, the match that probably next gets me most excited is my favorite against Matt Connolly's favorite, the juniors, the friggin' juniors. Man,
and his uncle's favorite, as it turns out.
Jamie Barrett against, is it? Give me his name for it. Is it Hamza? How do I say his last name?
Hodgick.
Hamza Hodgick. So this is Australia's top 2 ranked juniors. We've never formalized who is number 1. These guys have both been kind of declaring it themselves that, hey, I'm number 1. He ain't number 1. I'm number 1. So we're going to find out who the genuine number 1 is. And then there's a lot of momentum coming off the back of Jamie Barrett in particular, who just went overseas for a super match against Alan Fisher, and he pulled a couple of tournaments. And most notably, he pulled 3-time world champion Vazgen Soygin at the California state titles, and he beat him. And no one does that on their first outing. No one. Like, unless you're a freaking anomaly in the system. Jamie Barrett at age 16 beats a 3-time WAF world champion. Pinned him twice. It was phenomenal. So big prospects on him. Like, everyone all of a sudden watching internationally saying, who is this kid? Is like, Jamie is so obsessed. I love Jamie because I've never met someone as obsessed as Jamie. He lives in Caboolture, which is an hour and a half's drive away, but he doesn't have a license. So he catches the train 2.5 hours each way every day after work to go and train with someone. He gets home at 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and then he gets up at 6 a.m. to be back at work. This kid does this every day. He doesn't miss it. And And you ask him why, and he says, I want to be the next John Brzenk. I want to be one of the all-time greats. And he's consciously aware that John was the world champion by 19. And he's like, I will be the world champion by 19. I will be the world champion by 19. And so when you watch him with that obsession, his first international outing, we were like, oh, let's see how he goes. And then he beats Bazgan. It's like, oh, shit, he's actually ticked the first box. Like if you had to just define what would make him, what that trip could have done in terms of being on track, he actually did. It's the one. A long way to go, but the kid, my first international outing, I got friggin' stomped. Like I felt like a fool when I went overseas, and it's like, oh man, these guys are different. No, Jamie just beats the damn 3-time WAF world champion. So he's taking on
those athletes. I don't think either of them are so boastful to claim that they're the number one, but I think you've obviously got a favourite, and Matt obviously does in this one as well. So I think that both athletes have their champions with respect to this matchup. So you obviously you've got money down. Is it even ethical to gamble on juniors? I don't know.
I don't know if it's on the Stakings website.
They make me proud.
But, so Jamie's
might referee that match, by the
way. So Jamie's your favourite. You see him coming through, and you see massive potential with Jamie. Jamie's grown an inch by the week by the sounds of things, much like Hamza at the moment. So it's hard to predict what their weigh-in or what their height might be. It could be 7'2" and 150 kilos from both sides at this stage.
Hamza's a big dude, isn't he? I've never met him.
He wasn't 3 months ago.
He gets bigger. Like every time you see him, he's taller and bigger and heavier and stronger.
How tall is this dude?
I'm 6'3". He's taller than me.
6'4", 6'5" now. Yeah.
So 6'4", 6'5". So this is what makes it interesting, is because like Jamie's a freak at his weight. He's only 70 kilos currently, so he's a lightweight, but he's just beaten the lightweight world champ. And Hamza's 6'4", 5". Obviously, the bigger dude with the range, the control is going to be there. So that's for me why this is like it's interesting. Because this is for the overall number one ranked junior, and what I think what Jamie has ahead in experience, and I don't know, but obsession, let's just call it, Hamza makes up for in physicality and size. So it's going to be an interesting one. I know Jamie wants to win. It means a lot to him.
Absolutely. This is the AWE Junior Championship match. So, we've got Ryan Bluebon and Chance Shaw as the headliner. We've got Mario Tambakas taking on Gunters Mykovs for the heavyweight title, and the junior title is going to be Hamza Hodzic versus Jamie Barrett. And
if that's not enough for you.
Yeah, we've got the Marcus Satiro.
155 kilo Marcus Satiro against Adam Laura. You got what?
So that's
Lachlan Carpenter against Vitaly Mateo. So that Vitaly Mateo ranked 3 in Australia. Marcus Satiro ranked 4 in Australia. Like these dudes.
I don't know if the cage is strong enough. I don't know if it's rated. We're going to have to check in with the engineers and make sure that
these are some of the best guys in the country that are going to be on this show.
And this will be staged in a cage at the Nord Oval, under lights. It's going to be a spectacular event, centre stage, where these athletes really get a chance to shine. A wonderful setting for all of this, and great for it to be staged here in Adelaide for the very first AWE event, and some murmurs in the background that there may be other events coming up and interstate in the not too distant future. But exciting times and some really, really big names. So some big matchups. And I mean, I can't think of too many matchups that are on that card that I guess Australian arm wrestling lovers haven't been thinking about for the last 2 years.
This is every match you'd want to see. You've got the Berserker, Las Botta. He's taking on Tom Demkowski, who recently won a national title. And he's also doing a left-handed match against Christian Bose I think he's from Canberra or New South Wales. Canberra, yeah. So and then we've got Taryn Broad from South Australia. He is taking on Josh Barker. So Yeah, it's
that's interesting in itself.
Absolutely.
Josh Parker, he's a freak. He's a freak.
As soon as AWE announced this card, I saw the best guys out of Southeast Asia, Malaysia, and Singapore. They were straight onto it. Like, we're watching, we want in on this. Like, this, we can take all these guys. So all of a sudden, like AWE's up there, and people Matteo Rangi hit the Morris from New Zealand. He's same. He messaged me straight away and was like, "What is this? What is this? Oh, I need to come and conquer this." And I'm like, "Yeah." So it's all kicking goals.
He wants that bell. Well, Well, the interesting thing about having the heavyweight title in this first event is that you're going to have contenders that are going to be able to have a target, and whoever holds that strap is going to have to defend it. So whether it's going to be Mario Shimbakas or Gunter Spajkovs after the first event, but if you've got some heavy hitters like I can't say his name. From New Zealand.
Morris.
Yeah. Thank you.
And you don't want to say it wrong.
Oh, that's right.
You don't want to upset him either.
He's the biggest man I've ever seen in my life. And really nice. He's a wonderful guy. He has that and Marcus Attiri and Fatali, who's been on a recent tear since coming back from, I think he had bicep surgery. He had a torn bicep a couple of years ago. And since returning from that, he's looked incredible. So we've got some amazing guys here in Australia that I don't think the world has actually sort of caught on yet, but they will be seeing that forefront and center when this event takes place.
I think as a result of this, I think the world's going to see that there's some really strong regional talent that is world class, and it's going to be interesting to see what the world makes of some of these matchups and victors, because I think now we're coming to that stage of the world opening up again. The chances are that international talent's going to be looking to test themselves against the best in their region and around the world, or just someone they maybe just don't like.
We've heard it from people like Terence Opperman from South Africa. He wants it. Wagner Bortolato from Brazil, he wants it. Like, the Southern Hemisphere title and all that sort of stuff starts to get pretty heated up when you start to say names like that. And of course, there's names from the northern side of the world as well that will no doubt venture down here and be part of AWE's next few events, I think.
Wagner Bortolato. Is there anyone that gets more intense for a match? I mean, he was trying when he had the match against Devon, and he was trying to rip the table out of the ground. Guys,
Wagner is such a nice dude too. He's a genuine monster. Like, the way he carries himself in the gym, that like he is just like, they called him Terremoto, which is earthquake. Yeah, suits him very well.
I'm missing a training video. He was doing lap pull down, and the machine started in one spot. By the end of his set, he was like 5 meters away. he was pulling so hard, the whole machine was sliding around the gym. Incredibly strong. And if he's somebody that would want to step into the card and maybe challenge for the title, he would be more welcome, and we would love to have that caliber
just
of
make
athlete.
sure the table's really bold.
Yeah, we really have to bolt that one down.
So Ryan, I'd like to get a little bit philosophical for a moment, because the AWE putting on this card, it looks like it's going to be an amazing event, and as you cast your mind forward to the future, where do you see arm wrestling going in terms of being a professional pursuit for athletes? Is there a way for an athlete to become professional without having a social media profile? Is that day going to emerge? Because it seems like without that, currently, it's very, very difficult.
You need it currently, unless you're Levan style, or like, unless you're truly the top dog, then you do need the social media side if you're going to call it a career. But if you reflect on the last couple of years, it's obvious the sport has grown tremendously. The amount of people watching an event now, I feel like there's about 100,000 people in the world, fans that are regular fans that would pay for a pay-per-view. That's about the number at the moment, and that's grown tremendously, and I think it will continue to grow as the sport continues to put great content out there, and we might be 2, 3 years, 4 years away from what you described, where you don't need the social media. You're on the back of an AWE sort of event, where that ecosystem is just sufficient to just pay the athletes and to do the marketing for them. I'm always a fan, as of course you know, I'm a fan of the social media side. When I embarked on the endeavor a decade ago, I had the hope of it being a blueprint for people to go, okay, well, look, that worked, and instead of it taking a decade, it takes 24 months now, because
Mm.
you can see all the errors and what I did, and I've kind of cleared the path a bit, and people can use
And
that,
you
and
can
and,
see
and I'm
that
not
in,
the only example. There's been
sorry,
plenty.
you can
Sorry.
see that in real world examples of people that you've coached through and seen how
Yeah.
their growth's accelerated as a result of
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. There's been a lot of athletes that I've
Need you to work
helped.
on the podcast.
There's been a lot of athletes that I've been with them throughout their journey as well, and have always bounced ideas back and forth. And as we all know, it's just you just learn faster when you share your mistakes with everyone that's in a similar pursuit. I can say of people like Michael Todd and Rebecca Todd. I've had a relationship with them where we've done exactly that for years. We have shared what's worked, shared what hasn't, helped each other, pushed each other, and I've seen them grow to amazing levels as well. So I think that, yeah, the sport will get to that point where there are a lot of people who can call it a career. I think that it's exciting futures, and yeah, it's an honor
so,
to be able
so
to
as
call it a career.
so as you're helping a young athlete like Jamie Barrett, for instance, it's not just the training and the table time. Obviously, you're imparting some of this type of IP with
Yeah.
him as well to help accelerate his opportunities in the sport.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think we all do this instinctively in life when we see somebody with a passion that is in the same column that we've got a passion, and we've walked the path before. It's just human nature to want to say, "Oh, look, this is awesome. Here, let do this." I've recognized that in Jamie early, that he had a genuine obsession to be a world elite. And so I gravitated toward him, and he asked me a question maybe 4 or 5 months ago. Ryan, what should I do? I've applied for Arm Wars and I got knocked back because I'm too young. Um, what should I do? And I said to him, dude, kick the door down. I said, you're working, save up the money, pick a notable arm wrestler that everyone is aware of, that has a good reputation and story, and travel to them and have a match, and document it and talk about it, and we'll follow it. Um, and he did that, and as we said earlier, not only did he do that, but he beat a 3-time world champion whilst he was over there.
And was
So
perhaps the biggest news story for 2 or 3 weeks in the sport
yeah,
as well. So all of a
yeah,
sudden, there's a buzz around this
he's amassed
unknown young athlete.
Jamie's amassed about 10 million views,
Mm.
because of his achievement,
And
because of his
so
age.
if you're
Yeah.
So if you're a sponsor or you're somebody who's never really heard of arm wrestling being a professional but there's a young kid who's 16 who's got 10 million views, all of a
In the space
sudden
of a couple of weeks.
there's a business case. There's if your brand aligns, well, it makes sense to support someone who's garnering that type of attention.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that part, David, reflecting on your question earlier about when will it get to the point where um, where we don't need your own organic social media or income, to call it a career. And I think we're not far away. And you've reminded me there of the value of different brands in the sport. And I remember I had a conversation with the Asia Pacific representative of Monster Energy,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 5 years ago.
Put Kirk's thing down.
No, this is a monster one. Yeah.
Let's get this shit out of the way.
I had a conversation with the Asia Pacific marketing rep for Monster Energy some 5 years ago, and I had just asked for some honesty. I was like, look, here's the numbers that I get on my YouTube channel. Here's the viewership locations. Here's the age. I gave them all the demographics and said, if you didn't know what the content was and you just saw these numbers, are these numbers worthy of a brand sponsorship? And they said yes. We would definitely be interested in those numbers. However, and then I said, okay, what show us the production level? And I showed the production level, and she said, yeah. So there's the problem. The production level is just nowhere near required. And she used the words, when it looks ESPN standard, then those numbers combined with that production, we're on board. So the sport, I think, is getting towards that more consistently. If we can hit the production and we just hit it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 events in a row and demonstrate consistency and stability, I think the big brands start to wake up to the sponsorship opportunities because there's genuine advertising value there for them. And when we get that, then we get the athletes paid like proper athletes.
Especially at this level, it's just breaking through, and it's like if they want to be the first people to make their sponsorship known into a sport that is on the rise, and it's like, we got on this early, and yeah, for sure. And I just wanted to highlight your assistance with helping people that I've seen over since I've known you. You've helped so many YouTube channels, and so willing to give assistance and help and templates and this and unbelievably. And not only that, but this event that you're putting on, a pay-per-view event for your channel, you're actually giving away the money that you're earning from this pay-per-view to
Connolly.
Yeah, not to me,
no. So
it's to subscriber of the channel. Is that how
it's true? How it's going to work is, so Chance and I we're battling this out. Obviously, we the winner is going to get a certain percentage of the profit, and the loser is going to get a certain percentage of the profit. Now, whether I'm the winner or the loser, I'm giving all of my percentage, everything I get, I'm giving it away to one pay-per-view member of the channel. So someone who signs up to watch it pay-per-view live within, say, I don't know, 48 hours, I'll probably get Chance Shaw to draw it as well, because he's going to be in Australia a bit afterwards. But I'll do some live stream and I will draw it. And however much it is, it could be 10,000, could be 1,000, could be 20,000. I don't know. It depends on how many people are watching. I'm giving it all away. All of it to one person.
Amazing.
It's amazing.
Well, what's the motivation behind that? You just want to give back to the community.
I just want to. I'm approaching 100,000 subs on my channel, and I want to celebrate that in a form of just gratitude. I recognize wholeheartedly that it's every like, every comment, every share, and every subscriber over the last decade that has made it possible for me to call this a career. So I just like to do something substantial to give it back in a gesture. So I hope that it's $20,000 that I'm giving away to someone. That'd be amazing.
So it's almost like a raffle, isn't it? No, I'm going to be there in person, but I'm thinking about buying a ticket because I reckon for $10, not bad. Good chance.
Pretty good odds, really.
Like a ticket, yeah.
It is. It's better than
a chook run at the pub. I like it. No,
and I have said as well, if anyone, because the pay-per-view is open now, if you sign up to the pay-per-view now, you're a month in advance, you get 2 entries. So.
Wow.
There you go. Get in early.
So Ryan Blue Bowen on YouTube. Go check it out. Sign up to the pay-per-view event.
Hit that join now button. You'll see the pay-per-view link there with Chance Shaw, Ryan Bowen. That's where you want to be.
Absolutely.
Nice. And if you happen to be in Australia at the time, it's 25th of February. It is going to be at the Nord Oval here in Adelaide. Of course, arm wrestling, as much as it would be the highlight for us, there's going to be over 20 events. I think Matthew was just saying a little bit earlier. I think the list gets longer every day as we draw closer and closer to the 25th.
I think of more sports. But the crazy thing about this, and I really want to highlight this, is at the end of the night, you get an entire MMA card from Diamondback Fighting Championships.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's DFC 17. I think we're up to now. It might be 16. But a massive card. There'll be 2 belts on the line as well. So we might see the return of Triple A Shane Mitchell. So we keep our fingers and toes crossed in anticipation of such an announcement. But also one of our former guests, of course, Pooh Bear. He's going to be there fighting for the light heavyweight title. So Damien Bowler.
Terrible nickname.
we tried to come up with something else for him. It didn't really stick. So he stuck with Pooh Bear. It didn't really stick.
He loves it, though. I mean, it works for him. It's great. Yeah. It's not a name that strikes fear into the hearts of your
no,
who you're fighting against.
But he is the current XFC light heavyweight champion, and he's going to be there fighting for the DFC belt on the 25th of February as well. So, yeah, massive card, huge event, and for your 65 or $70 for your all-day ticket, you have access to the lot. So, including having the opportunity to meet the man currently on screen, who'll be there in person with his wine wearing friend.
I would love to grip up with everyone as well. So I'm sure there'll be a table there. I'll be arm wrestling all day after that. So can't wait.
If you'd like to be embarrassed by Bowen, certainly make your way over to the arm wrestling tent.
And watch him beat you with 2 fingers.
At least it makes sense now. You're 105 kilos. When you're beating people in 85 kilos.
I got a tricep now. I can't believe it.
Oh, it's all coming together.
Show what it's really like. Look at that. That's very, very weak. But
it's for show, but not for go.
You need to be a bodybuilder.
Very weak. Yes. Well, comparatively, absolutely.
I mean, to me, it's different. There's levels. There's levels.
Exactly.
So AWE, very, very proud to put it on this card. 3 men that you're watching on screen, bringing this to you along with Pound for Pound. So the lights there in the background, of course, always make sure that you're visiting Pound for Pound. There is some of the coolest stuff that you can find in the arm wrestling world, as well as some of the comfiest T-shirts I've ever worn in my life. My wife wants me to get rid of one. I refuse to. It used to be grey like that, but it's somewhat lighter in colour now, and maybe greying a little bit, but I will not depart from it. I love that shirt, and I should really order another now I come to think of it. I might make my way over to Pound for Pound.
Do you know whose arms are on that logo there?
Who are those arms?
Whose arms are they, Mr. Stockbridge?
Who are they?
Well, there is somebody else that I'll let Ryan tell because he designed it.
Yeah, it's a silhouette. It's taken from a photo. A graphic designer turned it into just the silhouettes. But come on, who is it?
Is it you two?
You're half of it, right?
Ryan,
one might be the greatest arm
John
wrestler of all time.
I'd imagined it would have been bigger. That's
look, Matt Connolly was my second preference.
Yeah,
it's on the back.
It's not peaky enough for Matt. But I don't see a double bicep split. Yeah,
that should be a little trivia question for you to prove whether you're a true Ryan Bowen fan.
Yeah,
whose arms are on the logo?
Just before you hand over that pay-per-view check, I think you should ask the trick question. Before you repeat the check, you have to answer this one question.
That's right.
And then we'll see if they've been listening to the podcast.
That's right.
Good stuff.
Well, very much looking forward to seeing you over here in Adelaide again. I think this is the second time you've been over to Apex Sport Fest. You were there at the inaugural and there at the third, and this time third inaugural, and it doesn't get old.
I love that
joke. So third inaugural Apex Sports Fest, and at the Nord Oval, and in the cage under lights, you'll be this man along with a larger man in a more brightly coloured shirt, and they will be fighting it out, Chance Shaw and Ryan Blue Bowen in the cage as your main event. And to get that pay-per-view, head over to Ryan Blue Bowen's YouTube channel, and if you happen to be here in the Great Southern Land, then make sure that you're buying a ticket and heading over to Diamondback FC in order to do that. Get in early because there's only about 5,000 or 6,000 tickets that'll be available, and I'm sure they'll sell out very, very quickly. So Ryan Blue Bowen, thank you very much for joining us here on the AWE podcast, and looking forward to hearing more about your progress and your increased gains as we move closer to the 25th of February.
Thank you very much for having us on, gents.